studio time check says it's 35 minutes past 6 a.m. Today, the 27th day in January of 2026. It's funny how today is the 27th, but it will still be January all through this week. Good morning to you and welcome. Thank you for tuning to Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio, and your number one family radio in the whole of Oyo State. We're broadcasting live from Wells Broadcasting House along Alafin Avenue, Oluyole State, Ibadan. I'm Bolanle Oduekun Ayola, and the program is Perspectives Unlimited, where we take a look at headlines and stories making the rounds across the different dailies in the country. We talk about the stories, we dissect them, we go beyond the news, helping you make sense of these stories. Good morning and welcome once again. Kindly visit our Facebook fan page at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. Okay, we're live and you can see us in the studio right now. Also, would like, if you're out of town, you can listen directly via our website to www.wellsradio893.com. Don't be a stranger. Like our pages. Follow us on other social media platforms. Instagram, X, TikTok at Wells Radio 893. Once again, good morning and thank you for joining us. This morning, I'll be taking a look at the headlines. Of course, reading out the headlines on several dailies to you, and my analyst will do justice to that conversation. Of course, by 7 a.m., you'll also be able to join in the conversation by putting your calls through. I'll put out the studio lines and then we'll take calls as well. Let's get started. Now, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, military investigation ends. DHQ moves to arraign alleged coup plotters. The writer says military finally confirms plot to overthrow Tinubu government. Inside the plot to breach presidential villa security, and we see this one, DHQ awaits presidential go-ahead for military tribunal. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. 2027, Ganduje assures Yusuf of APC ticket after defection. You find that on page 20. More headlines. NDLEA arrests 336, destroys 207,000 kilograms of cannabis in Ondo. That's on page 5. Local government power tussle. Osun APC kicks as Adeleke slams Oyetola. That story is on page 20 of the Punch newspaper this morning. More headlines. Presidential panel recommends freeze on 1 trillion naira rice imports. That story is on page 21. Strike. Court decides today as FCT workers demand Wike's removal. That's on page 7. Over 400,000 jostle for 50,000 police jobs. That story is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. And this headline says Alafin shown absent as Makinde kicks off your 50th anniversary. That story is on page 20 of the Punch newspaper this morning. On the foreign scene, deadly winter storm hits U.S., 17 killed, flights grounded. That's on page 20 of the Punch newspaper as well. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, alleged coup, military to court-martial 16 officers. That's on page 3. Soludo shuts down Onitsha main market for a week over sit-at-home. That's on page 5. Alleged fraud. AGF takes over Ozekome's prosecution from ICPC. That's on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Gunmen abduct school proprietress in Ondo. 3 daughters of Plateau Water Board MD. That's on page 26. More headlines. No plan to drop Shatima as Tinubu's running mate. That's from APC. That story is on page 16. More headlines. Osun local government areas. 10-year elongation illegal in democracy. Adeleke tells APC. Oyetola using police to lay siege to council secretariat. He alleges. APC reacts, denies allegations. All right. And in health, Nigeria records first robotic women's gynecology surgery in West Africa. That's on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Quickly on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, 2027, Ganduje Barao close ranks with Kano governor. You find that story on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Continued on pages 3 and 4. More headlines. Federal government to spend 30 billion naira on solar grids and inverters. That's on page 23. Bandits abduct 23 persons in Zamfara. You find that on page 8. More headlines. NAS resumption, tax laws, Electoral Act top agenda. That's on page 13 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. These and many more we'll be talking about on Perspectives Unlimited. I'll bring on our analyst, Mr. Chukwemeka Munachi. So good morning to you.
Good morning, Bola.
How do you do?
I'm okay, by the special grace of God.
Definitely. So it's the last week of the first month of the year, and we're grateful to God for
His mercies.
Definitely for His mercies and for keeping us up until this time. All right, let's just kick it off.
Okay.
I know we'd normally start with a little chit-chat, but let's just kick it off. Quickly, we'll start with what's happening in the FCT. Now, a video made the rounds yesterday where we saw FCT workers running after Nyesom Wike's car, the minister of the FCT, in other words, the governor of the FCT, and calling him thief. Now, it's worthy of note that FCT workers rarely, if ever, we haven't seen this sort of thing in years where they're going on strike. The FCT Abuja is usually the choice place to work because, you're being treated well, your bonuses are well paid and all of that. But we're saying this now. Now, the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, Abuja, has fixed today for ruling on a suit filed by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and the FCTA, that's the FCT administration, against the leaders of the Joint Union Action Committee. Justice E.D. Sublim adjourned the matter after hearing arguments from counsel for both parties. Now, the claimant had dragged the JUAC chairman, Rifkatu Lotier, and the secretary Abdullahi Umar Saleh before the court, seeking an interlocutory injunction restraining the defendants and their agents from embarking on any industrial action, picketing or lockouts. It's worthy of note that they're on day 6 of their strike, and this strike began last Monday after the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum, and it has paralyzed activities across major FCTA offices in Abuja, including the FCTA Secretariat, where security operatives were deployed to restrict access. And the FCTA management is saying that most of the workers' demands have been met, but the Joint Union Action Committee is insisting that the core reasons, the core issues that necessitated that strike are still unresolved. So it's basically this. The workers are saying, we need you to, answer. We need you to look into what we're talking about. And the FCT is saying, well, we've met some of your demands, and we want you to go back to work. Yes, and so that's that's the issue. They're also saying that the Joint Union Action Committee is illegal. It's an illegal body because it's not registered under the Trade Union Act. And so because of that, they cannot call a strike. Therefore, the strike is illegal. They say that's their contention, and that's what they're arguing before the court. Now, looking at the trajectory of the trend in Abuja, what would we say, maybe I don't want us to preempt a court judgment, but is it right? Let's start from there. Let's look at rights and wrongs. Is it right in the first place for the FCT workers to have done what they did? We saw the video. I don't know if you saw the video.
Right. The video went viral. The issue is this, Bola. When you create a situation where you lose credibility before people, you are not likely going to get a very fair treatment. You see, what is going on in Abuja between Nyesom Wike and the workers is a part of all the things surrounding the FCT minister. Is the way he does his things, his courage, his mannerism, and the way he talks to people. You understand? It is wrong to run after his vehicle and be calling him names. You understand? But what created the situation? Why did he bring himself to a level where those he's superintending now are now looking down on him? Because before you call somebody names, you must have the person is no longer worth anything in your presence. You understand? So what did he do? And we've been having FCT ministers, but we have not had a similar thing like this. You understand? So when you don't, if people are working and they are not getting, you are saying that you have met their demands. Are they kids? If you have actually done what they ought to do, what you ought to do, will they still be on this? Who is interested in going to the street? Nobody is interested. They want to go to their work, get paid, and go home. But if you have not done the needful, you are giving them reason to come to the street, and that's exactly what the minister has done. So if you come around and say they were not registered, and even if they are not registered, so because they are not registered, you want to ride roughshod over them because they are not registered. If you really want an industrial peace within your domain, what you ought to do is make sure you do the needful. Make sure that there is always a middle of the road. What they are asking for, if it is not something you cannot meet, there's always a way of talking to people, appealing to them. But if you don't do those things, what you are asking them is that they should go and do their worst. And that's exactly what they have done. Coming to the street and running after your car, calling you names. At the end of the day, it is not helping anybody. And they are now asking for his removal. And you know that the man already has a lot of things going against him in the FCT. Because I have some friends that are there, and the feelers we are getting is that it's not that people don't like him. You understand? Maybe because of what he does or what he doesn't do. It's not popular. It's not. People don't want him. You understand? This is not a question of it's a question of stepping on toes unnecessarily, getting involved in something you should even avoid. There's a need for diplomacy in what you do. You don't have to be brash. You don't have to say things because you feel that you're in a position to say it. No, there are some things you just look away from. If you know it is not going to actually affect the generality of the people. But when you throw your weight around every problem, you create a lot of ripples, and it's not going to be good for you.
All right, thank you very much for that. We, of course, will wait
for the court
resolution on the matter, and we hope that they'll be able to, come together and settle it. But underneath this lies a more unsettling matter: the use of the courts to, would I say, intimidate workers. Now, we saw this with the doctors who decided to go on strike. The NARD last week, I believe, or the week before, who said they were going on strike. And we've seen this time and time again with the NLC. We've seen this with protesters, where government officials would then go to court to seek an injunction to stop them from protesting. Is protesting a right of, is it a fundamental human right? Can I decide to, go and protest? And what then does it mean if those who are elected on the platform of the people go to the courts to stop you from exercising rights?
But there is a book I would have asked you to read, How Democracies Die, by Stephen Levitsky and Daniel Ziblatt. You see, when democracies are about to die, the first victim is always the court, judicial system. When you behead the judicial system, when you tamper with the judicial system, when you weaken the influence of the judiciary, that democracy becomes vulnerable. And that is why we are witnessing in our country. That's why you are bringing up what you are bringing right now. You understand? When you use judiciary to intimidate the citizens, when you weaken it to the point that they look away when they're supposed to look at what is going on, when you muzzle them, when you stifle their influence, that democracy becomes vulnerable. And that's why I keep asking a question. The only time our leaders resort to the judiciary is when it comes to election. They tell you go to court. You understand? And I keep saying it that any democracy where judiciary is the one that pronounces the winner of an election is not democracy. So that's why you are bringing up this question right now. Why is it that the judiciary? Because that is the first, they call it temple of justice. That's is the last hope of the common man. But in Nigeria, is it the last hope? No, it is not. You understand? So we tend to use judiciary when how many court pronouncements have our leaders obeyed? Just check. When it favors them, they obey it. When it does not, they disobey it. That's not judicial system. That's not a very good judicial system. So what I'm saying here is that that's why they always resort to the judiciary, because they know that once you say, oh, the case is in court, don't go there. But when it is against you, do you obey the court?
All right, thank you very much for that. Let's move on quickly. Military investigation ends. DHK moves to arraign alleged coup plotters. Now, the defense headquarters on Monday said personnel indicted after investigations into alleged misconduct by some military officers, which uncovered claims of a plot to overthrow the government, will be arraigned before an appropriate military judicial panel. Now, security and military sources familiar with the matter said President Bolanle had expressed confidence in the military to try the indicted officers. Now, this comes amid appeals by a pro-democracy group urging the federal government to consider the health and welfare of officers detained in connection with the matter. In October 2025, we recall that the DHQ announced the arrest of 16 officers over some acts of indiscipline and breaches of service regulation. On the other hand, Sarah reporters had alleged that these officers were arrested by the DHQ for holding secret meetings to topple the government. That was around October. Apparently, they were supposed to do it on October 1st. And that's why they were arrested. And at that time, the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, had dismissed the report as an attempt to create tension and distrust, saying the matter was a purely internal disciplinary issue. He said they were being punished for, just some acts of indiscipline. And now we're hearing from the new Director of Defense Information, Major General Samaila Oba, that a comprehensive investigation has been concluded and the report has been forwarded to appropriate superior authority. He said the findings identified several officers with cases to answer over allegations of plotting to overthrow the government. Looking at the ferocious denial or denials that happened around that time to say no, there's nothing about a coup. The president didn't run to Lagos. And also recent happenings. For example, the denials from the Nigerian police in Kaduna, where some people were kidnapped
and they denied.
Yes, and then they
later came back.
Where's the place of trust between the... Is this a matter of trust, or is it a matter of confidential workings? Saying that it's tactical workings, we can't just disclose these information to. I mean, we work in the fourth estate of the realm, and we know that there's sometimes too that some sort of information is so sensitive and probably not yet complete that you cannot afford to release it to the public. But so is that the issue here? And is it being properly done such that the general public, the populace, will not lose the trust they have in our military, in our security agencies?
You see, that is a failure of intelligence, if you ask me. Because let me start from what happened in Kajuru local government. When those people were abducted and taken away by the bandits, the first thing the police said was it was not true. And the locals came out to say that, look, our people were abducted. Police made a U-turn, saying that, why we said it was not true was that so that the public will not go into panic. But we are seeing the same thing right now. When that coup came up, the man at the helm of the affairs that time dismissed it and said it was not true. Now, how come it later became true that people were rounded off and now they are being subjected to trial? That is not even where I'm looking at. I'm looking at a situation where what military coup is not the best. It's not. In the worst civilian regime is still better than the best of the military as a leadership, if you ask me. You know why? We have lived, what has happened to Nigeria came as a result of military intervention into the leadership of structure of this country, and we have not recovered. So I don't subscribe to coup d'etat in any form. But for the way to stop coup d'etat, not only in Nigeria, across Africa, is good governance. When you have, when the landscape is populated with commercial politicians, when I mean commercial politicians who can lay waste lives of their fellow citizens in order to hold on to power, you are asking for coup d'etat. Look across Africa. Look at what's happening in Uganda. Museveni has been there for many years. He recently contested and won. His wife, I think his wife has a portfolio in the government.
It's a family government.
Yes, his son is in charge of the military. Look at what is played out, what is playing out in Cameroon. Look at what's happening in Tanzania. Election, 200 people were wasted just for election, 200 citizens. Can you call that democracy? So the only way for Africa to make progress in our democratic experiment is to make sure that elections, credible elections, when people lose interest in elections, when citizens no longer, that's why what is happening in Nigeria is very, very dicey right now. We must be very careful because democracy allows opposition. When you cannibalize opposition, when you make sure that people in opposition, you create a way that they can't come together and you destabilize them in one way or the other, you are asking for trouble in one way or the other. It's going to bounce back on you. Look at what happened in Benin Republic. We went there with our military, we scrambled our jets. We didn't go to save our democracy because what's happening in Benin Republic is it democracy? Where you ban opposition, you do all manner of things that you are doing so that they will not come and contest against you. That's not democracy. So I'm not interested whether there was a military coup or no military coup. Military coup is not the best for Nigeria. It is not. I lived under the military as a young man. I saw it, and they don't take orders. It does not augur well for any country to be under military regime. It does not, because it retards a lot of progress. There's no freedom. Citizens are not allowed to do what they ought to do. But if we are practicing democracy, must we do it in such a way that we will be behaving almost like a military regime, which is not ideal. Good governance is antidote to military coup d'etat in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. When we don't have good governance, you are asking for trouble.
Thank you very much. Nigeria, as we know, has experienced at least 9 coups and attempted coups between 1966 and 1995. The last major scale was in 1997. And as you've said, we have seen renewed military intervention in politics in Africa.
Yes.
Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, they fall under military juntas. They've quit the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. And so we are definitely sure when we say that we don't want coups in Nigeria. We just want a democracy that works.
Inclusive. Democracy that is inclusive. Democracy that is progressive. Democracy where opposition is allowed to thrive, because that is the essence of, and that's the beauty of democracy. You have your own voice, I have my own voice. Let's meet at the polling booth. Then we decide who the people we choose.
All right, thank you so much. We'll take a short break now on Perspectives Unlimited, and when we come back, we'll continue to take a look at headlines and stories making the rounds across the different dailies in Nigeria. So don't go anywhere. It's still Perspectives Unlimited on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio and your number one family radio in the whole of Oyo State.
How long will it take you to confirm payment? I have been waiting for the past 1 hour. I'm so sorry. Our network is slow. I will just run out of data.
Same excuse yesterday. It is unacceptable, please. You better switch to One Data Internet Service.
One Data?
Yes, One Data. One Data is an internet service provider with the best alternative and solution for unlimited speed. One Data provides fast and reliable internet service to organizations, homes, and places of interest in Nigeria. With One Data, you get to enjoy the premium internet service with dedicated unlimited internet speed at all times, 24/7 fantastic customer service and support, and you enjoy a 1-month free subscription when you make payment. Now is the time to say goodbye to downtimes. Sign up with One Data today on 0811 223 2671 or visit www.onedata.ng for more inquiries. One Data, unlimited speed.
Christ Ambassadors International College is a private, co-educational Christian day and boarding school located at Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. We offer a blend of Nigerian and British curricula designed to nurture global leaders with godly values. With world-class facilities, exciting co-curricular programs, exceptional pastoral care, and outstanding academic results, we ensure your child's dream becomes a reality. Our entrance examination for 2026-2027 academic session will hold on Saturday, 14th February 2026 at 8 a.m. For inquiries, please call 0704 530 8414 or 0814 177 2806 or visit www.christambassadorscollege.com. Christ Ambassadors International College, nurturing global and godly scholars.
Are you hungry for something delicious? Food that feels like home but tastes like pure luxury? Then welcome to Honeydew Restaurant, where every meal is made to make you smile. From our smoky jollof to rich ofada sauce to a variety of delicious soups like egusi, eforiro, and more, paired with your favorite proteins and hot, freshly made swallows, all made for you to enjoy. We also handle bulk orders in liters, fresh and ready whenever you need it. We deliver it to your doorstep. At Honeydew, it's not just the food, it's the feel. With our beautiful ambience, perfect for your romantic dates, family outings, or your quiet, relaxing evening escape. Join us every last Friday of the month at 7 p.m. for karaoke night with Jayola and enjoy music, games, food, drinks, and free mocktails and cocktails as you sing your hearts out. Visit us at Plot 42, Block 8, Alaafi Avenue, beside Wells Radio, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. For your doorstep delivery or inquiries, call or WhatsApp 0814-691-6635, 0814-691-6635. Honeydew Restaurant, where every meal is made to make you smile.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on this website: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, 0707-338-4828, SEC 0209-462-1168. Announcer, FSRCC.
Boost your business with Wells Radio 89.3 FM. In a competitive world of business, strategic brand and product positioning is key to growth. Don't remain unseen in the shadows. Shine a spotlight on your brand with Wells Radio 89.3 FM today. Why Wells Radio? We are your state's #1 family radio station. We connect with the heart of families in your state. As the smallest unit of the society, families trust Wells Radio for quality content and information. Visit us today along Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Our white and blue building just before Sharp Corner ensures your business won't go unnoticed. Advertise with us today. Call our marketing office on 0903 936 8185. Call Toby on 0803 509 3394. Ayo on 0706 840-7359. Take the leap today. Let Wells Radio 89.3 FM be the megaphone for your business success. You won't regret it.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go!
Hey there! Want to stay connected to your favorite radio station? Follow us on social media for the latest updates, entertaining wholesome content, and behind-the-scene peaks. We're on Instagram at Wells Radio 893, Facebook Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, X Wells Radio 893. Follow our WhatsApp channel Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Get a scoop on upcoming shows, giveaways, and events. Also get to interact with your favorite presenters and share your thoughts on our posts and stories. Join the conversation and stay tuned into Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
All right, you're welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned to Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio, your #1 family radio in the whole of Oyo State. We're still taking a look at headlines and stories making the rounds across the different dailies in Nigeria. Perspectives Unlimited. Thank you to those watching us on Facebook. We see your comments. You can watch us live as well on Facebook, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. And of course, the phone lines are officially open 0916 893 1000, 0915 333 4893, and 0911 3333 893. I'll take the headlines, the numbers again rather 0916 893 1000, 0915 333 4893, and 0911 3333 893. These are the numbers to call to be a part of the conversation this morning. Quickly, let's move to more stories. We see here local government power tussle. Osun APC kicks as Adeleke slams Oyetola. We'll take a look at that story. Now, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has accused his predecessor Adegboyega Oyetola of using federal institutions and banks to enable illegal extension of tenure by local government chairmen and councillors elected on the platform of the APC. But in a swift reaction, the Osun APC dismissed the governor's claim, accusing him of dishonesty. So what happened was that in the state broadcast, the Osun State Governor had alleged that some APC chairmen and councillors continue to occupy council secretariats beyond their statutory tenure with police protection, acting on Oyetola's directive, and he demanded the intervention of President Bola Tinubu to resolve the matter. He also accused Oyetola, a former governor of the state, of weaponizing federal institutions, including the Nigerian police force and a bank, the United Bank for Africa, to impose hardship on residents and enable unlawful occupation of councils. He said Oyetola was using the president's name without his knowledge to enforce these directives. It's what is happening in Osun State is akin to what had initially happened in Rivers State.
I'm going there. You see, Bola, when we started this conversation this morning, I said something that our democracy is very, very vulnerable and is shifting towards autocracy, which is very, very dangerous for all of us as citizens of this country. You see, what is playing out in Osun State right now is a crutch experience of how it started in Rivers State. And we're looking at it this way. And because, I look at when we started this democracy, we kept on describing it as a nascent democracy. Can we say that after 25 years, is this still a nascent democracy? It is not. The issue is that the problem we have is that we have pretenders to the throne, people who pretend to be Democrats, but they are not. You understand? There is no way you as a minister, you served in that state. Whatever that, allow the man that is there to do this work.
Now, I must cut in to say that political godfatherism
that is what
is not new in Nigerian politics. It didn't just start.
It didn't just start, but it is, what we have right now is the children of Eli. Eli in the Bible, the man was good, but he brought up children who were very unruly. Our politicians are not behaving the way they should behave. We should call a spade and not a family. We should call it a spade. They are not behaving the way, and they are the one undermining democracy in our country, not the citizens. Look at what is going on in Rivers State. We have not recovered from. Now, the people of Rivers State, will there be any dividend of democracy for them? Look at what is going on in Osun State. Where somebody, you have been in that state for some time, you are not a minister of economy. And you still want to throw your weight. What is all this? It happened in Anambra State during the time of Peter Obi and Ngige and all those not. Anambra people, they shook it off. Godfatherism is not thriving in that place again, because it is the people that will rise up against Godfatherism. Godfatherism is euphemism for corruption, for people not getting the dividends of democracy, for somebody to stand against the people, because everything must pass through you. Why? Why must it be like is that how democracy thrives in other countries? No, but we have become primitive in our practice of democracy. There's no rule of law, because democracy without rule of law is no democracy. I keep saying it. Now, people there's somebody there as a governor. Can't he be allowed to be? You understand? Even if he's making mistakes, let people vote him out in the next. Now we're no longer talking of scorecard. Because when democracy is about scorecard, what you have here achieved, politicians are not coming to us with their scorecard. All we are doing is that somebody is defecting. This one is jumping to this. Scorecard is the thing that will bring you back to office.
Governor Adeleke also spoke about the fact that Oyetola is using the police. Through him, some of the local government chairmen are getting police protection to illegally extend their tenure. Does this also then bring in the conversation of state police?
Look, Bola, I made a comment that when democracies are about to die, they start with the judiciary. You weaken state institutions. That's exactly what we are seeing in our country. When institutions just exist and the powers authorities are hollowed out, you have a facade. You understand? It's not really working. But that is exactly what all these institutions are there. Anybody that looks at Nigeria will say, oh, this is a democracy. But are we practicing democracy? No. We are not. When you are weaponizing state institutions against the opposition, it's not democracy. It is not.
All right, thank you very much. The studio lines are still open, 0916-893-1000. These are the numbers to call to be a part of the conversation this morning. We want to hear what you think of these stories while we move on to talking about other stories this morning. 2027, no plan to drop Shetima as Tinubu's running mate. The All Progressives, that's the APC National Working Committee, has described as purely speculative, untrue, and utterly baseless media reports suggesting plans to drop Vice President Kashim Shettima as President Bola Tinubu's running mate ahead of the 2027 election. And a statement issued in Abuja, signed by the APC National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka, the party urged media organizations to refrain from giving their platforms to rumor peddlers and mischievous news sources of questionable provenance whose sole intention is to promote discord and confusion in the polity. You said about a month ago that the peace in the APC is
is a piece of the graveyard.
Of the graveyard. Are we starting to see cracks?
No, but wait. When you build, there was this story of tortoise. It's a folklore. God invited all the animals to heaven and said they should all come. They should fly and come to heaven. And the tortoise, having no feather, went to animals and went to birds and borrowed a lot of feathers, and they all flew together. But before then, he told them that when we get there, that my name is all of us. When they flew to God, they all sat down. They brought food. And the birds, Anna asked God, who owns this food? He said, all of you. And remember that tortoise name, all of us. They watched. Tortoise ate everything by himself. When it was time to come down to the earth, the birds, in anger, and went to tortoise and said, give me my feather. The parrot went and collected his feather. Eagle went and collected his feather. Everybody went, all the birds went and collected their feathers and flew back to the earth, leaving tortoise before God. He couldn't fly. And when he waited and waited, he can't jump down, and later he jumped and had a fracture. That's why the shell is fractured. Now, when you build your house with materials taken from other people's house, the day they will come and say, I want my zinc, I want my door, I want my hinges, remove it from me. You see, Bola, that's why when we talk of defection, people are defecting from, I just laugh. Because I know that look at you see, Bible I study it all the time. Look at the story of the prodigal son. The one that you left in the house, the one that didn't go out, the one that came back, and the one at home started asking, what did you really? A time is coming when those who have been in APC all through their years will begin to ask questions. What is in it for us? Now people have come to join us based on promises we have made to them. What of those of us that have been on the ground? That is where the problem will come in. That's why I said it's a piece of the graveyard. Because you make promises. You give somebody money to come. And what of those that have been inside? So that is where we are just looking at. Because this thing that is playing out in other parties is happening within APC. But everybody is keeping quiet. At the right time, we will see how these things will play out. That's why I gave you that story of the tortoise and the birds.
Thank you so much for that folklore. All right, quickly, let's move on to more stories. This headline on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper says, amidst criticisms, Tax Reform Committee, financial institutions meet to prevent wrong charges on customers. Now, the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee has held a high-level engagement with financial institutions to ensure that customers are not wrongly charged under the implementation of the new tax laws. The engagement, titled Implementation of New Tax Acts for Financial Institutions, brought together key stakeholders, including the Nigeria Revenue Service, the NRS, the Joint Revenue Board, JRB, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and representatives of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee. Basically, they talked about different things, legal advice, basically to ensure that, to prevent erroneous or excessive charges on bank customers, especially in relation to electronic transaction and account maintenance. When Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, last year, December, had said that if the tax reform implementation did not start on January 1st, it will not augur well for the people. Many people came out to say that, have you perfected this thing? Have you educated those who are going to be involved? both the general public and the people who, the banks and co. And they said they had done their homework. But what we've seen so far in the 27 days, at least 26 days, so this is the 27th day of this year, is that they seem not to be very well prepared, because then they keep having rejoinders and top-up meetings like this one again. Where do we put, the workings of this committee?
But you see, the minority caucus of the House of Rep, they came out to admit discrepancies.
Yes, they saw at least three.
Yes, you understand? And they said it, they shouted, they were shouted down. Look, Bola, I have said it repeatedly on this platform that if there is transparency in this tax law, what government ought to do, because it is about the people. If you are actually, if it is all about the welfare of Nigerian citizens, why not let them know everything in black and white? Why not allow Nigerians to understand exactly where you are taking them to? I've said it. The only way for the government to do this thing, if there's nothing hidden beneath, make these things in different languages of the people and let them have a copy and study, so that when you don't even need to be talking to banks excessive charges. Don't do. People already know what they are expecting, and banks will be in the know. But now the people don't know what they are expecting, because you've not made it so clear to them. Whatever banks will do to the people may not even know, because it's a celebration of ignorance on the part of the people. They don't know. Banks may wake up tomorrow and be charging whatever they like. The people will not protest because they are not in the know. If it is about the people, why must everything in Nigeria, why must we have problem? Why can't we do something transparently clear that everybody will be on the same page and say, oh, this is what government has done, and the citizens are fully aware and conscious. You understand? But when you don't come clean, when there is something you are hiding, and you are telling us it's transparent, and you have not been able to explain to us, how do we understand what you are implementing? That's the question. So the thing here is, let the tax laws be done in ABC, that even elementary school children will understand what is in it. That is civic education, so that Nigerians will understand what we are getting into. But whereby you have not explained it to us, Nigerians will be at the mercy of the banks.
All right, let's move on quickly as we come down to Oyo State, the Oyo 50th anniversary celebrations. The Punch newspaper headline says Alaafin Seun absent as Makinde kicks off Oyo 50th anniversary. Now, two prominent traditional rulers in Oyo State, the Seun of Ogbomoso, Oba Olaoye Gandhi, and the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Akim Owade, were conspicuously absent as Governor Seyi Makinde inaugurated the 50th anniversary of the state on Monday. Family members of former governors, traditional and religious leaders, top government functionaries, and political stakeholders gathered at the International Conference Center, Ibadan, to celebrate the state, which was created on February 3rd, 1976, from the former western region of Nigeria, with Ibadan as its administrative capital. And the state government unveiled a week-long program for the anniversary, religious services, cultural exhibitions, movie nights, and so on and so forth. And so we'll talk about the absence of these traditional rulers, and we'll also talk about the chairman of the planning committee of the Oyo at 50.
Okay, is it Fijabi?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is a former member of the House of Representatives and an APC member. Because we'll talk about his speech generally.
Okay.
He did deliver a wonderful speech.
Okay.
And he kept on mentioning that there will be no war in Oyo State. Obviously alluding to a video that had made the rounds. I said this in my report yesterday. I was at the event where a wife of a late former governor now had said that video was done in 2025, I believe, where she said that, where she had said that, come 2027, she was prepared for war, that the PDP, which is the ruling party in Oyo State, must go out, and make way for the APC, which she supports. And now, let's talk about the controversy first of Mr. Fijabi, Honorable Fijabi, as the chairman of this committee. Because when he was made the chairman of this committee, he had then gone to his constituency to his ward for an APC meeting, and the youths booed him out.
Okay.
Saying, why, but must politics be that way?
No, that's it.
Can't you hold positions regardless of what camp you belong to?
Yes, you see, the wife of the former governor is talking of war. There will be war. I hope when he comes, he should bring her children and let them come and fight the war. You see, it's not enough to talk of war and they lure other people's children to come and fight. We don't need war in Oyo State, and there will be no war by the special grace of God. Oyo is a peaceful place, and that's why many people are domiciled here. You understand? Those who are asking for war, let them bring their own children and put them in the forefront for war. You can't just talk of war and shield their own children.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Isoma.
Good morning to you, sir.
This is Benga. You're calling from Apata.
You're welcome, Mr.
Now, on the issue of the process, thank you. On the issue of the process that came up in Abuja yesterday, that is signaling to the fact that the FCT militant has not been working. You are some few weeks ago, you are doing the looks and queries of River State, and you left the job you were supposed to do in Abuja, you left it undone, and you are running about the 20 local governments in River State, trying to get what to see the interest of people to ensure that money has not been returned. And now the people that are working for you, you left them uncared for. You didn't pay their salary, and now they are now protesting. They are now running after your convoy. You can see that the eyes of it. By now, if we are in the similar time, the president would have shown me the way out of the cabinet. So I think that those people, they should be given their salary. Because the people that the book says that he who works must eat. But he who is working now, they are not having the money to eat. So I think the Mr. President should speak to this. And we are the Mr. President that we are talking about. You know, even in the country. As of yesterday, we have gone to Turkey. Turkey. So the thing is that we want those people to be adequately compensated. And lastly, on the issue of the Kano governor that defected with APC yesterday, I think we must have a constitutional review. That's what I'm saying. The constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, has amended. If someone falls it, because how can you come into a party if you are not to a political party, and within a single of that, you are jumping the party for another party? That means that the governor does to ensure the ticket of the second term. So that is one of the lacuna that we have in our constitution, which must be reviewed. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mari, for your contributions this morning. Quickly,
so shortly, there will be no war in Oyo State. You understand? And
let's also talk about the absence.
Absence. They know why they are absent. You know, so we should not bother about it. It didn't stop the celebration from going on. You know,
and we hope to see them at the gala night.
They're supposed to be there, but if they decide not to be there, the governor cannot go and drag them to come. So you understand? And this is about ego. It's about hierarchy, which is not the most important thing in Bola is service delivery to the people. I don't hanker so much after position. No, service delivery to the people. If you're a monarch, make sure that the people are receiving dividends of your being in that position. That's the most important thing.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you for having me, Bola. God bless Nigeria.
On Facebook, Grace Aderonke says, thank you, Sarah and Ma, for shedding so much light on these issues. We'll keep crying to God for fairness in our nation. Adekunle Ojo Christina says, good morning and well done, Sir and Ma. Grace Aderonke says, autocratic leadership tends to slavery. No freedom of speech. A zombinized nation, if there's any word like that. God help us. Sulaiman Sharif says, congratulations to us in Oyo State for the Golden Jubilee celebration. The absence of Alaafin and Shonwu Ogbomoso is not a big deal when His Imperial Majesty Oba Rashidi Ladoja, the chairman of the Council of Obas, is present and other traditional rulers were also present. They were all represented. I learned that Oyo at 50 celebration is a week-long activity. Lex expects them to attend other events. Adedamola Okunlola says, waking up to the news of insecurity every time shows that our government is not taking the right means or right measures in securing the lives of its citizens. State police should be approved and our Amotekun should be allowed to work with sophisticated weapons. Thank you. And Grace Adenuke says that former governor's wife, well, I won't say what she said, but she just said a house divided against itself. Thank you so much for your contributions this morning. Thank you to those who called. And that's it on Perspectives Unlimited this morning. Don't go away, however. The sports crew is ready to give you the latest stories in the world of sports. My name is Bolanle Oduekun Ayola. And, of course, our analyst on the show has been Mr. Chukwemeka Monachi. So thank you so much for staying with us. Good morning and God bless you. Please listen to this important information. The views expressed by the interviewee in this program are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wells Radio 89.3 FM or its affiliated entities. Wells Radio 89.3 FM is committed to providing a platform for diverse perspectives and opinions, and the views expressed by guests on our programs are their personal viewpoints. Wells Radio 89.3 FM does not endorse or take responsibility for the content or opinions expressed by individual interviewees and callers. Thank you. Not just another radio station.